All right, so the next one here, U.S. launches airstrike in Somalia. So U.S. is still bombing Somalia. So the U.S. military announced on Wednesday that it launched an airstrike in Somalia against al-Shabaab on February 9th in support of the U.S.-backed Mogadishu-based government. U.S. Africa Command said that the strike was launched in the vicinity of Yak Dabel in Jubalah, which is Somalia's southernmost province. The attack marks the first known U.S. airstrike in Somalia for the month of February. AFRICOM announced 2 airstrikes in Somalia in January. So the command claimed that the airstrike killed 2 al-Shabaab fighters and that the initial assessment found no civilians were harmed. But you always have to point out, when it comes to AFRICOM, when it comes to operations in Somalia, very secretive. There's basically no... we barely get any information about this besides these press releases from AFRICOM. And we certainly can't take their word for it. They are notorious for undercounting civilian casualties, so always keep that in mind. The U.S. has been increasing support for the Somali government in recent years, and on Thursday, the U.S. signed a deal with Somalia to build 5 new military bases in the country for the Somali army. And the bases will be for the Danab Brigade, a special unit that's armed and trained by the U.S. So I always refer to this government as the Mogadishu-based government because they do not control all of the territory inside Somalia's borders. Somaliland up in the north is basically an autonomous area that's not controlled by them. And then you have territory controlled by al-Shabaab, and then there's also tribes that control some other territory. I don't know the exact what the exact extent of how much territory they control, but I just think it's worth pointing out that they don't control the whole country by any means. So yeah, this is just continuing, and it gets such little attention. The U.S. has been bombing Somalia for so long, and I linked to a really good article by Scott Horton. It's a chapter from his book, Enough Already, about Somalia, about the backstory. And really the big piece of information that I always include is just al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab is an al-Qaeda affiliate, so they're the one, the U.S. military always acts like they're this huge threat to the U.S. homeland. But the fact is they are, not considered to be a threat outside of Somalia. And they were born out of an Ethiopian invasion of Somalia in 2006 that was backed by the U.S. So they were fighting against, Ethiopia and the U.S. and U.S. proxies for years before they actually, declared their allegiance to al-Qaeda in 2012. So it's widely believed that they don't have ambitions outside of Somalia.